So it's been 30 days that I've actually used every day the LG V20. Today, I'm here to share with you guys my final thoughts and to let you guys know what I think of the phone and whether or not it's worth your money in today's industry. Stay tuned. What's going on, guys? It's QuizzyDog here, and like I said before, today I just want to do a quick video addressing what I feel sort of the strong and weak points are of the LG V20 and how it stacks up to today's phones, because it's been a while. It's actually been out for quite a while in the States. In Canada, we just brought it to market March 2017, but I feel it's sort of already being outshined by some phones that are either upcoming or have already come out, and its price point, to me at least right now, doesn't really make sense. So let's first take a look at some of the strengths that this phone has and why you should actually consider this phone. Now, the first thing I want to discuss is the actual display of this unit, because I really think that that's one of the things that's going to gravitate a lot of people to continue to look at the LG V20 for at least the next little while. This device has a 5.7-inch screen corner to corner with the traditional 16:9 format. Now, you guys can argue that there are other phones either that have come to the market like the LG G6, as well as coming to the market like the Samsung S8 Plus that also have either a 5.7 or 5.8-inch display, but the V20 keeps that 16:9 aspect ratio, unlike the upcoming phones who are all either 18 or 18.5:9. What that means is you're not going to have any letterboxing concerns when it comes to games or comes to video on the V20 like you will with the G6 and the S8 Plus. One thing to note that the V20 has that those other phones do not have would be sort of that extra 2-inch display that they have on the top of the unit itself. This was first brought to market with the V10 and continues on with the V20, and truthfully, I think that's kind of where it should die. And the reason for that is I don't really find a use for it. Now, on paper, it makes sense. It would be really cool to have an extra display that doesn't hinder the main display for everyday use, but I don't feel that's the way that they actually have it utilized. By default, there are a lot of shortcuts that you can use, but I found it no faster to either swipe left to right or right to left to get to that shortcut versus just bringing down the notification tray like I would on any Android phone and utilizing it that way. Now, aside from that, I did find some contrast concerns with the 2-inch display where at times it would be more of a grayish tone compared to the truer black that you would get on the 5.7-inch display, and to me that sort of just stuck out like a sore thumb. Now, just like some of the other devices that have come to market from LG, this device has a dual camera setup, meaning there are 2 actual cameras on the back of the device. Now, unlike Apple's method where they have the original portrait and then they have that zoom style lens, this one actually gives you a portrait style or a normal camera and a wide angle. To me, that makes more sense than a zoom. I find myself in more scenarios where I could utilize a wide angle compared to something that I might need zoom for. And at the end of the day, I think you might be able to clean up some digital zoom a little bit better than you could compensate for maybe a wide angle shot. Now, the reason why I say it's actually good and bad as far as the camera standpoint is I find some things work really well and some things kind of don't. The main portrait style lens, or just the main lens that's on there, works really good in automatic mode. I find the colors are very true to life. Reds seem actually very vibrant, which I really like as well. It's okay for speed. I found myself actually getting a little bit of blur because it didn't take that picture exactly when I wanted it to. I find something like a Samsung happens to be just a little bit faster with its shutter speed. But the fact that you can shoot full RAW in manual mode was something that was really cool. I personally tried to take some shots in manual mode, though I'm not very good at it. The scenarios that I had available to me were very, very dark. It was actually in an indoor aquarium, so I wasn't quite able to pull off the looks that I wanted. But I'm sure a lot of people who maybe know how to use this a little bit better than I did will actually get some really good results with this. Now, the bad actually kind of comes from that wide angle. Outside in sunlight, it's fantastic. But I find maybe indoor scenarios are going to be the scenarios that you're going to need that wide angle for more. In my example, I was actually in a hotel room. I was trying to take pictures of the room, and even with my back to the wall, I couldn't get far enough back to actually take a shot of the entire room. So luckily, because I had the V20 with me, I was able to access that secondary camera, and the results that I got were really good and kind of average at the same time. The composition of the picture was perfect. I was actually able to get everything within the frame that I wanted to. The issue was it was quite grainy and I had a lot of light. Now, unlike outside where you're going to have that natural light in the sun that, I mean, anybody can shoot in, the indoor light really didn't yield the ability to take that noise away from the frame that I was hoping to get. And with that, it wasn't something, I'm gonna share it now, but wasn't really something that I was looking to share after I took the picture. I was kind of disappointed. Now, the video quality was very good. This guy will actually do 1080p 60 frames, 720 120, or 4K at 30. And the image quality that you can pull out of that with actually having the image stabilization on was very impressive. I was taking some 1080p 60 shots by an accident. I should have been doing 4K so I could share it with you guys. But I was doing some pans from left to right at an aquarium. And what I noticed was with the image stabilization on, once I played back that, and mind you, I wasn't very shaky, but just with natural motion, it's not quite perfect. I found the image stabilization on playback kind of took that out almost completely and made it seem like I was using a gimbal at the time. And for somebody who's used, let's say, the Nexus 6P or the S6 or some other phones in the past, it was something I myself wasn't used to, and I found it extremely buttery smooth. The next thing to talk about would be audio. And again, just like everything else, there's a good and there's a bad. The regular audio, as far as just using the bottom mounted speaker for YouTube, was hit and miss for me. I've been spoiled with my Huawei Nexus 6P and the fact that it had dual front-facing speakers. When I used the V20, I found myself covering that bottom mounted speaker more often than not, and in turn I was muffling a lot of my audio and I'd have to change the orientation of my grip to correct that. For people maybe coming from phones like the Samsung with the speaker on the bottom, the speaker on the back, or maybe an iPhone with the speaker on the bottom, you may be used to holding your phone differently than I am, so this might be a concern that you don't have. It was something that I had to get used to, but I mean, that's also just me and what I'm used to. Now, for those of you who watched the first impressions video, you'll know I said I didn't actually hear an audio difference when it came to the hi-fi DAC on the bottom of the unit itself, and after testing, I have to say I was completely wrong, and that it's very noticeable. You see, when I tested it before, I was using some Beats Studio, and with that, and them being battery powered with the noise cancellation, I didn't hear a whole lot of difference because the Beats were already adding a lot of powered processing when it comes to the sound quality I was listening to. What I've done on my testing is use regular earbuds and actually my studio pair of Superlux 668Bs, which need a little bit extra push to actually get the full clarity and quality out of those cans. And I have to say, with a decent quality studio pair of headphones or something that needs a little bit more power to drive them, there is a big difference, and I found myself using headphones more often than I would normally with this phone. Battery. Something else I want to talk about. The battery life on this phone was actually phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. I found it lasted a long time, and overall I was just very impressed. The fact that the battery is removable, accessible, and user interchangeable made me very happy as well. It's not very often you find a phone where the back will come out of it and you can get to that battery and maybe buy extra supplemental batteries to have some on the go if you're maybe really into media consumption or don't have any external battery packs that you can use for charging. Having the ability to take out a dead battery and put in a fully charged battery is something that I know there is a market for. Now it's time to talk about some things that I was a little less than impressed with. One thing about this phone, it is a new phone. The phone, at least for us in Canada, just came out, like I said before, March of 2017. Why are you using old software? And why don't we have the Google Assistant? You have it on the LG G6. I rely on it and I've come so accustomed to using it with my Nexus 6P that I would find myself using the V20 a lot more if I had the Assistant. So if there's one thing that I think you can work on, would be to update the software and give us a lot of things that some other phones already have. So should you buy the LG V20? And does the value of the phone make sense? it depends on what you need. Like I said before, if you want a user interchangeable battery experience and a very large traditional aspect ratioed screen, then yes, I think the V20 is a very good phone. But seeing what we have on the market right now, and even the internal competition brought to us by the LG G6 with the fact that it also has a 5.7-inch screen, though it is a different aspect ratio, offers the same dual camera goodness, the same fingerprint reader on the back, but the fact that it's actually giving us a better variant of Nougat with the Android Assistant, and the fact that it's now, waterproof and things like that, like the Samsungs of the past, I don't see a lot of people, if you were to table the V20 and the G6 together, going for the V20, especially in Canada where the V20 right now is $100 more than the G6, unless you really need that screen and really need that removable battery, and also I guess the DAC that's on the bottom and the headphone jack, I don't see the value. In all honesty, I think the V20 would be a fantastic phone priced about $200 less, meaning it would be $100 under the G6. That way for the people who maybe don't see the value in a waterproof phone and things like that, they would have another LG option that's not the G5 that would be able to facilitate a lot of their needs financially, and then add some value when it comes to the DAC and the removable battery and things like that. So what do you guys think as far as the V20 is concerned? Do you think I'm right in my assumptions that the value proposition seems a little skewed and that things should change? Or do you think I'm completely wrong and that the phone should be priced higher than sort of the competition both externally and internally with LG? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Again, special thanks to LG for sending this phone out. This video is by no means sponsored. It's all based off my own experiences and my own opinions. But I do want you guys to leave some information in the comments and let me know what you think. Until the next video, my name is Crazy Dog. You guys have been awesome, and we'll catch you all in the next video. Take care.